Here's some breaking news. I'm old and I'm still alive. That's the breaking news. So Angela Lansbury is getting a Lifetime Achievement Award after 72 movies she's done, and the Broadway shows and the voiceovers with Beauty and the Beast. You know, I didn't take the job. They wanted me to be the Cup. I don't want to do that. I already was in the movies. You know, I was in Rocky. I was the meat in Rocky. And also in The Sopranos. I was the guy in the trunk. So, you know, I don't want to be in films. Anyway, there is another side to the story, and I am the guy doing the other side of the story. Let me ask the owl, should I go into this dangerous area or not? Yes or no? Tell me the truth here. Come on. Let me ask the Yoda. No. The vote is no, but I'm going to do it anyway. All right, you know, the color barrier. Now, people will do anything, horrible things for a half hour in the news and all day long on CNN and on differences of opinion with Fox and various channels that are made up just to aggravate the hell out of everybody so they can get to the next commercial. That's the purpose of all of this, is economy. It's money. You know, I mean, we didn't know that? You didn't know the country was driven by making money, huh? So, hey, what a revelation. So this whole deal of putting people on the air because they're black is unbelievably unholy. Just because they're black. They ought to be on the air because they're good, because they're qualified, because they deserve a shot. And that doesn't mean they should not have a startup or when I say they, we, you know, the proverbial, the royal we. I'm one of the people. I was a last of the white kids in a black neighborhood, and I know what it was like when I made my exit and realized that everybody else was different than me. That's the other side of the story. I said, wait a minute, I was raised in a different way. I was in a black community a long time ago. It never became fashionable. It is now, thank God. But anyway, the fact of the matter is that we are put in a place now where the demographics don't work. That means this is the other side of the story. See, television and radio used to be measured by the amount of people listening to the station or watching it, and how long they would listen and how long they would watch it. They can't do that anymore because people are too, first of all, we have electronics and we are impatient along with it. We're spoiled. We can get anything we want on an impulse instantly. We can just push the button and it's there. You disappear very quickly if you're not amusing or entertaining someone in their own interest. So we have a different world that we live in catering to the audience on radio and television. And what they've done now is they can't find the audience. It's like it's a shell game, which means, you know, you pick up the peas, which shell has the pea under it. You know, we have a different kind of a society, as I've said every day on this channel that I've created. This is the All Joey All the Time channel. I'm not looking for a black audience, but CBS seems to be. Their stories are all leaning in that direction, from Gayle King all the way on, from Oprah and the blessing from the black community. They're focusing on entertaining the black community. ABC today announced a special they're going to do on black people, women who are, black women have a harder time delivering babies than white women do, according to this special report they're going to do, this special show. There's more complications with black childbirths than there is with white childbirths. Now, did you know that? Did you ever, would I have known that ever? Is that a news story? No, it's a special. They're going to do it. They're going to milk this sucker. Excuse me. Must be the pollen in the air again. But, you know, we have a different kind of a world. I keep saying that. And we changed the dialogue a little bit. You know, the language has changed. One of the words, you know, words that I think in the courtroom, what do they call? They call the police law enforcement. And they call gangsters suspects, you know. I'm a law enforcement officer and you're a suspect. No, I'm a cop and you're a robber. That's the way it goes. And today in the Beverly Hills of Florida, Miami, somebody in the Hasidic Jew community robbed a house in 9 minutes. They took $300,000 worth of watches and purses. Well, that woman must have a lot of social activity if she's got all those watches and purses, or the family. And so what happened was a 12-year-old kid came home and discovered this. They had cleaned out the place in 9 minutes. That in itself is a series, you know. that could be on Jewflix. But you know, there's the Jewish community has the corner on the market with cameras in New York, the 46th Street camera, the camera store that's on 9th Avenue, which they have the diamond industry, the jewel industry, because they focused on it and they know how to handle it. When I was had a sponsor of J&R cameras and photography in Lower Manhattan when I was on the air, they were my sponsor, and they were Hasidic Jews were running the place, and I said, hey, how about a discount? And I said, how come you're able to charge so much lower than these other stores? And they said, well, simply put, you take the merchandise and you drive it around the Statue of Liberty, and it's an automatic 20% off. Yeah, it's the way that something is shipped. That's what that was. It's funny. It's fun. But you know, see, now I just did a whole thing about Jews. Now, you know, the Jewish community is very uptight because somebody always in the Jewish community feels that someone's out to get them. And you can't blame them because historically that has happened. So, and I have a great heart for the Jewish community because I don't think you can be Christian without being Jewish, and I don't think you'd be Jewish if you didn't have this great Moses. And the Moses syndrome, which I suffer from, is when Moses went up the mountain of Mount Sinai, not the hospital, but the hill, and he got the 10 Commandments, not 15 of them like Mel Brooks says, but 10 Commandments. He came down and he told the people they weren't allowed to go up and see God. But Moses did see God. Last time he saw God was a burning bush, because God is a, this is my explanation, God is imagination. God is love. God, it's a spirit, and you can't have a picture with spirit. Maybe God gave this image to Moses. Maybe he gave him this idea of what Moses thought God should look like. We don't know that. But see, this is a lot of the controversy that we have in trying to figure out where our brain, which is limited, you know, everybody, no matter if you're Einstein or me, it only goes so far. And then you're so lucky to have what faculties we have, the 5 senses, because we have free will in that package. And then later on you have, if you get a little bit older, like 10 or 11, then you start to have faith, and you question everything anyway, all, you know, from childhood on. So I'm just trying to get through all of this. I want to congratulate, I think, what is it, Murder, She Wrote? Who was that? Angela Lansbury. She has 72 movies, and she just got a Lifetime Achievement Award. And the award is, geez, I can't believe I lived this long without someone bothering me. You know what she did? Here's the other side of the story. All right, there's a building on 9th Avenue in New York City, which was a brand new building. To get the permission to build that, they had to offer what they call a homeless help apartments, you know. And they did, and they put this apartment building in a very bad drug neighborhood at the time. And who was the first tenant? Angela Lansbury. No, she was not homeless, but she showed that the way to this horrible neighborhood with this big high-rise, full complement building with a gym and a swimming pool and everything, cheap rent for those who could not afford to live in an apartment at all, let alone a luxury apartment. And they put aside a certain amount, and this particular apartment building, you have to sign up and get in, and you can't make a certain amount of money. If you make more than that, then they either boot you out or else they will charge you, which is fair market value, they call it. And she was the first tenant there. She opened up that apartment building. She was great. I lived there. Why? Because I lived with Kramer. Who lived with Kramer? Who was his neighbor? Larry David. Why, it became a celebrity building because none of us had any money. That's why. We had to live in affordable housing, they call that. That's another one of those excuse words, you know. And oh yeah, and the person who is now accused of a crime, what do they call them? The person of interest. That's the criminal. The guy just shot 12 people, and they call him a person of interest. What do you mean of interest? What are you talking about? But this is the dialogue we're living with right now. Anyway, Angela Lansbury lived in that building. I lived in that building. Kramer did. And we used to look out the window, and there was a whole series of people going into the studio across the street. I could see it from Kramer's apartment. And they were all a bunch of, I mean, they looked like the scene from the Star Wars Cantina bar scene, where they all were different looking. And I said, what the hell is that? And Kramer said, oh, that's the methadone clinic. And I said, it is? I didn't know they had a clinic down there. He said, well, it's not really that. He said, it's the crowd that's lined up to see Queen Latifah's television show. I said, oh, so now all of a sudden she really is a queen, but back then she was just struggling. We all have struggled, you know. I'm struggling to get through this. So, do I have a problem? Yeah, I do. I open my mouth. What's going to happen? Well, maybe the Russians will censor this because I call Putin, since he is a Disney character. Incidentally, you know that Khrushchev wanted to go to Disneyland when he came here to this country, when they first took the Berlin Wall down and Kennedy threatened him. He wanted to see Disneyland. And they've created this kind of a scenario. They never did have Disneyland in Russia, but I think that Putin has become Pinocchio because he lies and his nose grows. So I call him Putinocchio. That's my new nickname for that criminal. I mean, for the man, a person of interest. Yeah, that's it. It's a Reynolds wrap.